In this lecture, we are going to visit the interesting subject of running your Qt Quick applications on multiple platforms. If you look here, we have a table that summarizes the situation of building your Qt applications on different platforms. When you want to build a Qt application for Windows, you need to build it on a Windows host. This is what we mean here. When you want to build for the Mac, you need to build on a Mac host. When you want to build on Linux, you need to build on a Linux host. Notice that I say build. The code base might be completely the same, but to have a binary that you can run on Windows, you need to build it on Windows, and the same happens on Mac and Linux. The situation changes a little bit when we try to target Android and iOS, these mobile platforms. For Android, you can build an Android APK on any platform really. You can do it on Windows, Mac, and Linux. But for iOS, you can only do it on a Mac. This is a limitation that is enforced by Apple. It is a legal restriction really. It is not a technical limitation. Right now, we're going to go to this link here and see what the Qt documentation has to say about this. We are looking at supported platforms. When you are building Qt Quick applications, you can read this here, but what we really are interested in is these configurations here. If you scroll down, you're going to see a table with two important columns, one for platform and another for compiler. We start by Windows platform. You can see that there's a bunch of configurations that you can target. There is the version of the Windows operating system. There's also the architecture that you have to take into account. So there is Windows 10 x86 64, and there is Windows 10 x86. What this means really is that application you build for Windows x86 can run on both of these platforms. But what you build for x86 64 can only run on this platform. You can read on this subject if you want, but this is what it translates to basically when you are building applications for your users. Okay, you can see we have Windows 8 and Windows 7 here. And we have the compilers that you can use on these combinations of operating system version and architecture. You can use MSVC 2017, 2015, and MinGW. If you scroll down, you're going to see the configuration I am using in this course. I am doing this course on a Windows 7 machine. I don't know if you noticed. And my architecture is this one. The compiler we are using is MinGW. Your situation might be different. If you scroll down, you're going to see Linux platforms you can target. There are different Linux distributions in here. You can see Ubuntu. This is a popular one. You can see Red Hat, and you can see many others. And they all really use the same compiler, which is GCC. You can see that they are using different versions. If you scroll down, you're going to see the Android platform that you can target in your Qt applications. We are actually going to build our app on Android in this course. There are two architectures you can build for ARM v7 and x86, and the minimum API that we support in Qt is 16. These are the compilers that you can use, and you can build for Android really on any platform of your choice. You can build for Android from Windows, Mac, and Linux, as we have seen before. Down here, we have Apple devices, we have iOS, and we have Mac OS, and many devices here. They all use the CLang compiler from Apple. And to build for Mac OS, the versions here, you have to use Mac OS. Okay, these are the requirements for Xcode that you can use. The same happens for iOS. These are the versions of iOS that you can target. And you have to use the CLang compiler from Apple, and you do it on Xcode as well. Down here, you see a bunch of embedded Linux platforms that you can target, but we're not going to dig deep into this in this course. What we are going to focus on in this course is targeting mainstream desktop platforms, Windows, Mac, and Linux, and mainstream mobile platforms like Android and iOS. Okay, now that you have this information, what is the general flow when you are building for different desktop platforms? It really isn't that complicated when you are using Qt. The code base can be completely the same, but when you need to generate binaries for Windows, you build that on a Windows machine. When you need to generate binaries for Linux, you build that on a Linux machine, and the same happens for macOS binaries. Okay, you have the same code base, and when you are happy with the features on your application, you can copy the code on all these machines and generate binaries for all these platforms. Okay, in practice, you don't really copy like that. You can use version control systems like Git, but you get the idea. You have to find a way to get the Qt source code on the platform that you want to build for. This is what I mean here. Now that you have an idea about how you build for desktop, in the next few lectures, we're going to look at how you build for Android specifically. And because I don't own a Mac, I am not going to show you the full details of how you build this, but the steps are really similar. So I encourage you, on whatever platform you might be using, try to set up an Android environment and build your Qt Quick application there. And I am going to do my best and guide you through this, starting in the next lecture, where we build for the Android platform. I'll see you there.